I'm being attacked again by books. A few years ago, I was attacked and just pummeled by books, and I inhaled them. But I haven't been on that. I've been more like, what action? I want to find the right action. So books are piling up. This one hit yesterday. So it's on a bookshelf, a friend of mine's bookshelf. And this is one, right? How the Indians lost their land, law and power on the frontier, by Stuart Banner. Right? This is an amazing falling in my lap thing. And I'll tell you why. Because I think this is the investigation, this is the story, this is the uncovering, this is the sharing of the history that we're all going to be able to gather around. And we already have. We've seen the mechanics of it in Standing Rock. And even though all those camps, except for the Cheyenne camp that's still there, are bulldozed, the Standing Rock story, the movement, is just beginning. It is the epicenter. If we have eyes to see and ears to hear, it's the epicenter. So it's all a question about law, lawfulness. You know, we have founding documents, we have a Declaration of Independence, we have a U.S. Constitution, and then we have this body of law that has been processed, through a legislature and signed by a president and not challenged. Whatever's there has not been yet challenged or is not challenged by the judiciary as to its constitutionality, as to its lawfulness, because the rule of law is the Constitution. So now I'm going to go to this whole history piece, which is, what is a treaty? What's a treaty? What's the lawfulness of a treaty? What's the legal standing of a treaty? And I'm going to tell you now that I'm just observing something, and I'm going to share with you what I found about the judicial criminal justice system, or the judicial system, or the lawmaking system in our country. Beyond the Constitution, because to amend the Constitution is serious work. You got to get a lot of states to agree and prove it. And then there are checks and balances. It's difficult to amend the Constitution, but it's very easy to write a law. And the people who are writing the laws are the giant corporations and the global bankers. Those are the people writing the laws. Now, every official that is a quote-unquote representative, elected representative in this whatever this thing is that is America, whatever we want to call this, it's fallen off its roots, its constitutional roots. The Constitution's getting trampled. The Bill of Rights is getting trampled. Standing Rock's a great example. Flint, Michigan's another great example. There's all these amazing, obvious examples, but because the corporate state media doesn't cover it, we don't think, we get spun into just trying to survive and staying up with the Joneses. We're in this sinking swamp. We're in the quicksand. And some people think this is a leap. I'm gonna go make this leap, and then I'm gonna end for today. But the leap is to this job idea, that I'm going to be hired by somebody, and I really don't know the mechanics of their business model, but they're going to pay me money, and I'm going to do a job. And it might be surveying for a gas pipeline. I mean, it's putting food on the table. They're offering me a job. I have a skill of surveying. So this idea of a job that we do no matter what, because we got to put food on the table, and that's the reality. We all say. Some of us feel like somewhat safe for that. We've amassed enough financial assets that we don't have to worry about it so much. Some of us. But we always have in the back of my mind is, when we see somebody who's like not in that situation, you can see the terror. It's a terrorism. So I'm saying that the legal system has become, maybe this is what it was from the beginning, and it came from England. It's maritime. It's a legal system based on, how would you conduct court on a ship? It's a maritime. It's got all, if you go look at a courtroom, you got all these different levels. They mean things. They use English, but it's a different syntax in English. So only if you go through and pass the bar will you learn the syntax. It's a special club of a different language that us average Joes, Jerrys, Marys, and Sues, we don't know it. So we have to go get a lawyer so they can speak the language to the court. That's just, I don't get that. And maybe what I think I'm going to discover, somebody kind of hinted it to me in this book, is that, look at, it's the law and power. See that? Law and power on the frontier. How this judicial system with special syntax that you can only learn if you go through to study to be a lawyer, become a club of the lawyers. Then you know the language, you can then act. And you act on other people's behalf who pay you so that they can be represented. They can be represented in the courts. I think it's kind of goofy. And I think it's the key thing that took the land from Native Americans, at least in the United States of America, and were able to say that it was done legally. So the legal system maybe founded, maybe has become, either way it is today, I think, for the most part, an opportunity for scoundrels to get over and say everything's okay because it's legal. And the legal part, beyond what's amended in the Constitution or the original Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, that other law may or may not be constitutionally, have integrity with the Constitution, even though our elected officials promised to protect the Constitution and defend it, or whatever. I'm going to go with the language and link it. So we've veered off the Constitution. We stamped or trampled the Bill of Rights for far too long now, and these corporations that don't have beating hearts, they're synthetic, are just basically they're going to town on us, or pummeling us. Or the wildest part is that they have bamboozled us very, very effectively by imprinting in our unconscious mind, right? The unconscious mind, belief constructs that are disempowering, and we've created a culture around those belief constructs, and we acquiesce to that culture, we acquiesce to those belief constructs, and basically those beliefs say that fundamentally, we're flawed, we suck, somehow we're not worthy, and they're lies, but because they're in the unconscious, everything is true in the unconscious to the conscious mind. The unconscious comes up as truth, and then inflames the conscious mind sometimes. I'm fired up. My goal is clarity, conciseness, understanding, and then action. That's my goal. It's a one step up from developing it now. It's like execute it as best I can with all I have. Until next time. Take care.